The last 24 hours have been absolutely massive. Obviously, crypto has dropped a ton. Bitcoin has been down extremes of about 7 or 8%. I'll get to that in just a moment. But if you are joining me for the first time, thanks very much. Hit the subscribe. Today is a update about the cycle itself, what's going on with Bitcoin, what's going on with cryptocurrencies, a quick review, recap of our swing chart and the extreme that Bitcoin has gotten to at this point, especially before the halving. And I also want to cover what you can do if you find yourself in a sticky situation, having overexposed yourself to altcoins at this stage in the cycle. Now, of course, I also want to cover some of the news that's obviously been going on in the last 24 hours with Iran putting some strikes out to Israel and whether Israel's going to retaliate. So all that stuff is playing havoc with the market right now. And because Bitcoin and cryptos are open 24 hours, they're obviously seeing the brunt of it. We'll have to wait and see what happens to the US stock markets as they open in about 24 hours time. Obviously the after hours will open in about 12. But anyway, that stuff we can sort out on the channel in about a day or two. So if you like this sort of quick update, make sure you hit the like button. You've helped me out a ton to know that this is what you want to see. Let's go 3,500 likes and we'll keep up to date with these shorter updates as the market progresses, okay? So we've got a few things to cover. As I said, Bitcoin has dumped, and then we'll get into the altcoins as well. So Bitcoin March top, that's where we currently sit, 73,800. And it's been tracking along in this trading range now for, from memory, just over a month now. I think it was about 40 something days. In terms of the top to where we are, it's about 28, 29 days. That's not the point. The point that we've been talking about now for over a month is that it seemed very unlikely that Bitcoin was going to push to 100 grand. All right, it was very unlikely that the bull market was going to continue in a straight up line from this point. Now, that came from the analysis that we'd seen 7 green months already. Bitcoin's never seen 8 green months in a row. Also, the swing chart had 6 swings up, so 6 months of higher highs and higher lows. September had a lower low and a lower high, but it was still green. Okay, so we're looking at the swing chart, which is very, very important when it comes to our analysis. That seems to, although we still have half the month left, with this current event and the market having dumped, it's getting close to that 60,700. This could mean that we do see an inside month, so it's not a bad thing for price. Just leaving the events of what's going on in Israel and Iran and the bad stuff that is happening there to human lives, okay? Just leaving that aside, we're just talking investing right now. Should Bitcoin break down from, at least if it broke 59, that would mean we have a lower low on the monthly, which sets us up for a potential trading range here, where we just really continue to grind. This could last a month, it could last 6 months. That is what we've been looking at for the last month or so. As Bitcoin broke up to new all-time highs, we had Drake come out and post about Michael Saylor and his Bitcoin portfolio at the peak. These are all telltale signs of the peak. Now, I knew at the time that it was not going to be met very well by the public, talking about the possibility of an intermediate top, not the final top. I don't think the cycle is over by any stretch of the imagination. But again, just as a reminder, this is why it's so important to understand where we might be in current wave counts, or just basically where we are in the stretch of things. Meaning, we'd seen 6 freaking green months, come on, or 7 green months. We were into our 7th, we'd seen 6 already, and the swings had gotten way out of hand already. So there was a stretch in the market sentiment. I just want to keep the nice little burly background here. So that's where we currently sit with Bitcoin. My view has not changed. I was on the fence of anything going much beyond 80 grand. And at this stage, if it breaks down from 59, I don't think we'll go beyond the top for a little while. Even if it was, it wouldn't be very much. Just like what happened in April of 2021. Now, we had covered that multiple times, looking at April of 2021, March and April, where basically the market ran up really hot and then had to pause for a bit, right? It had a pretty significant correction. So far, we're still at a roughly 17% correction. So nothing out of the ordinary. In this week, I'll go through those other updates as well. So that's to paint the picture of where we are with Bitcoin. It seems like things are on track with where the market should sit right now, considering where we've come from. Now, onto cryptos. If you find yourself in a sticky situation where you've been overexposed to cryptocurrencies right now, and you've got way too much money in the market, and obviously they've dumped over the last 2 days pretty heavily, but over the last couple of months, some of them have been down quite significantly, this is the time to start repositioning yourself into stronger altcoins, which I've also discussed on the channel. Not individuals, we've looked at some, but the way the chart pattern looks, which is why it's the most important thing, not what they're talking about with their fundamentals and all sorts of other nonsense crap, right? That is obviously has something to do with it, but if you really want to understand what's going to be strong and weak, then the chart comes into it, okay? So you can see that some have broken down. The big points to look out for, which you can take away right now to use for your altcoin portfolio, is go to the altcoin Bitcoin chart. So whatever altcoin you have, pair that with Bitcoin, and then look at where the low is. Did it break down from the previous lows that were set in September, October of 2023? If it started to break those, it is very likely that those are not going to be strong altcoins into the next stage. And if this lasts for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, it could be grinding even lower at that point. Now, I'm not saying that that is going to happen. Maybe this is the final little peg down because it's on extreme news, remember? In that case, even if they do still break down, you still want to be repositioning yourself relatively soon to stronger altcoins. And those stronger altcoins are alts that have strong positions against their Bitcoin value and are sitting above those accumulation zones of 2023 and potentially even above their higher swing lows and above their 50% levels, which we've also covered on the channel. But of course, as this is an update, I'll share that with you throughout the week. So make sure you do hit the subscribe and let me know if these updates are still helping you, hitting that like button down below. Let's go 3,500 today. Okay, so that's what you can do with your altcoins should you find yourself in a sticky situation, overexposed, listening to influencers banging on about 100x returns over the last several months, okay? So that is a bit of an issue. If you found yourself with profits, fantastic. There's still time to go. So should we break down from the 60K low for Bitcoin here, so back to BTC, we've looked at a quick look at altcoins and what you can do there. Should we break down the 60, then we could head a little lower. I've been looking at a range of between 50 and 80 grand. Should we go a little higher, a little lower? Okay, 50 to 80K. That would set us up for the case of Bitcoin at that range. It'd still be a healthy correction in this move, and that would potentially be the wave 4, which would then take time. Okay, don't worry about it. Time is we're looking at the macro here, but we would be heading up later in the year, I think, if not in quarter 3 or the worst case scenario. Let's leave it at that. Worst case scenario later in the year to new fresh highs, and the cycle could get even stronger. But I think now is the time that's going to take a little bit of getting used to, at least for investors, as they got too hot, too heavy, too early on to just take the steam out of that side of the market. That's for altcoins, okay? So Bitcoin gets the drop. I don't think the show's over. This is the healthy part of the market, that it gives it time to consolidate and gives us time to build again, or gives the market time to build again for that next run. So I still see this as a very positive time going on. No, this is not the call to buy right now and that's it. I saw someone write that the other day. You said to buy it. No, not at all. I'm a macro investor, macro trader, and these moves can take time to confirm to the up or the downside, okay? So that's why I was getting a little worried in March, just thinking things are getting very hot and extended. Now we're starting to see that breakdown, so that confirmation of the breakdown, especially with the data points that we're looking at and referring to the probabilities that things didn't seem like they were going to head up, and everyone was talking about 100K, okay? So that's the big thing there, to always keep a level head, especially at significant turns. And to identify the significant turns, you can see the market extremes. I just saw that as a market extreme. There's a lot of new people coming into the space, and that started to ring warning bells, especially when it was all over social media of some of the biggest people in the world. Okay, and in terms of the US stock markets now, so we'll know more when they open up tomorrow. And currently where they sit is the largest correction that we've seen since the October low of 23. So that's for the S&P and for the NASDAQ, for the Dow Jones. And this could be that grind that we've talked about now, that potential seasonal grind. Maybe we see a little bit of it heading up quarter 3, but I think this could be the time that it just needs further consolidation, a bit of a grind aside, that is going to wean out all of those late buyers that had to get in, that were holding off for a bigger correction. They got in late to the markets, to the Dow Jones in particularly, also to the Russell, the smaller caps of the US. and they got destroyed now. It's not necessarily destroyed, but their emotions are very, very destroyed because they got in very late, watching an almost 6-month bull market get destroyed. So the purpose of that now is that it just clears out the paper hands, as crypto likes to put it, and allows the market to reset, consolidate, to then push higher. We've got an election year. I think we're going to see bigger things later in the year, but this is possibly that grind time. We'll start to head up and then possibly have another pullback later in the year. I've got that all in the roadmaps that I show on the channel, so make sure you hit the subscribe, and we'll get through that this week when I'm not on the beautiful beach here. And of course, cover interest rates as well, as that's obviously been a changing game for the majority of people that have expected cuts and obviously aren't coming at this point in time. So I'll wish you farewell for the weekend. This is my first Sunday video in a long time. Have a quick look while you don't have to look at my face. Beautiful bit of background here from Burleigh Head in the background. Beautiful part of the world. Hope we can catch up one point over here. It's absolutely stunning. And yeah, I'll see you guys back at the next video. Have a fantastic weekend. Have fun with your friends and family. Take care and peace out.